Well, first of all, thank you. I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to meet you all and present today. For Steeldome, it's our first dip our toe in the water here with the storage community. So with that, we'll take you on a bit of a speed date around our orchestration software. So Steeldome, in a nutshell, what we're doing is we're out there doing data protection and storage solutions. Storage profitability is what we do. We're out there trying to create bundles for you. Customer hybrid solutions is the name of the game. And we do that in a way that we feel is very unique and it's purpose built. We'll get a little bit more into that, but being a software-based organization, all the complexities around the challenges, especially in the Web 2 space today, we have solved for, and it only makes sense to bring that now over and help cross the chasm, if you will, with decentralized services in Web 3. So we're pretty excited about that. Next. So Steeldome, message here is Steeldome's in this for the long haul. We got involved in ESPA for the first time in January, and we've never looked back. I've talked about this at the last ESPA. We had no expectations, and now we're all in. We're addicted, and we're here. So on the onboarding and safeguarding of data, as I was mentioning, we've been doing this for quite some time on the Web 2 side. So it makes sense for us to take that capability and come up with the right interfaces, if you will, and working with Protocol Labs and the storage community to kind of create that simple and secure interface, if you will, and bridge the potential of two very large markets together. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but the Web 2 and the Web 3 market. Next. Storage provider profitability. All right, familiar slide. What we've done here is, for illustration purposes, we've taken a couple of the FileCoin slides that we came across that are the most relevant to illustrate a point. And that point being, storage provider profitability is a must. It's a non-negotiable going forward. I don't know how you survive without being profitable. Not to say that you are or aren't today, but this is an area that we've designed our entire organization around. So there's definitely a need in the marketplace for hybrid solutions. And in our view, if you look at the distributed enterprise space, what Steeldome has done is we've created an orchestration layer of software with common access methods for enterprise customers over universal protocols, which I'll talk about in a few. But basically, we've provided an easy way without the need for making any changes to actually capture the data, protect it, and redistribute it. And what we're positioned here as the Web 2.5 play at the moment to bring large data sets from different verticals, whether they're Web 3 or Web 2, to the FileCoin archival infrastructure. And we feel that gateway function for all storage solutions is really needed in order for the FileCoin community and all of us, that are participating in it to cross that chasm to the mainstream market, if you will. So very, very excited about that. Next. So just some data points here. This slide is really to talk about, some of this is market research data that we've come across and some observations from Steeldome in the marketplace. And really, there's just there's no surprise here that data is our number one business asset, and probably personally too. We don't talk about that enough, but to be able to continually progress and protect our data is extremely important. So on the industry and FileCoin side, from a data growth perspective, we've deduced this big problem into three core areas in each category. All right, the data onboarding. Actually, these slides, the first one's a reverse. The one on the FileCoin side actually belongs on the left. So in the industry, there's no shortage of accelerated data explosion. There's no end in sight of that. It's very complicated, very technical out there. For those of you in the Web 2 space, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They are just not ready. They're not ready for what's coming. They're challenged with the hyperscalers we're dealing with since 2006 to do things differently. There's edge computing, there's point systems, a lot of money being spent. Well, if you look at it from the FileCoin side, it needs to get simpler. It needs to be easier. It's very difficult today with the integration being a challenge, with tooling. There's the interfaces need to come around. So there's a lot of gaps for us to fill. On the risk and compliance side, pretty clean, right? On the Web 2 side, it's a big problem. No secret that the data needs to be protected and stored and really recoverable. Very key point, especially when we talk about compliance. The cybersecurity companies, the legal companies, the challenges that these organizations have with the regulatory laws, they've got to be able to get their data back in whatever data set that is. So big challenge. And then on the FileCoin side, let's kind of get through this quickly here, is there's just no data enterprise availability today for retrievability. I know everybody's working on that. We do have some hybrid solutions around that across the Web 2 and the Web 3 space. But there's a need for what we're calling integrated immutability between the two markets. And we could talk about that in detail under the hood, if you will. We feel at the Steeldome level, we do that very well in Web 2 with being able to protect that. And what FileCoin brings to the table, it's a really good added layer of security, if you will. So Steeldome, this is what we're all about. This is what we do. We define software networks, and just to keep this simple, if we take it from left to right, what we're showing here is we do not care what the data set is. Could be an application server, could be backup servers, could be Microsoft, could be VM instances, images. We do not care. We are providing that common access method across standard protocols, right? We're all familiar with them: the SMB, NFS, ISCS, the NVMe, NOF, HTTPS. And what we do is we bring that data into our technology, the secure storage gateway. Internally, that's our product is InfiniVault. And it's doing everything that you would expect a storage provider to do in software, right? So we're virus scanning it, we're creating the storage pools, we're compressing it, we're doing the algorithms around encryption. We're putting that back out, if you will, onto the wire. We have plenty of connectors, over 35, S3 being the most common. And we have the ability to deposit that data. We're creating the global storage providers to us is like one global disk. Right, so we have the ability to put it into the hyperscaler, onto their local prem, or any combination of. And now, very exciting to say, we can do the same for depositing data onto the FileCoin. Just the last point on that slide is in the reverse direction. We're also taking that data back through the same method and able to represent it back to the customer. And the one point I'll make here, Porter, and then we can kind of move a little quicker, is the enterprise organization are not ready for wholesale changes. That's an extremely important fact. What we need to do is get sticky by giving them an easy way to get some data over for archival services, and then use the same technology to start upselling, if you will, the additional services that are being developed within FileCoin. They're not going to make a change just for the sake of making changes. Next. I won't belabor this one too much, but just some features and benefits of what we're doing around survivability and durability. Having the ability to distribute across different locations and having the correction, data integrity aspects of what we do. Security is at the framework of everything we do. So we're encryption and what we call invisible snapshotting and things of that nature we can talk to you more about. But for the spirit of time, I just want to point out it's completely software based, no compatibility issues with operating systems since it's protocol based, and we have the ability to really bring unlimited capacity to the table, especially with what the storage provider network within the FileCoin community can help bring. Next. All right, quick snapshot here of a couple of screenshots just to share how there's a couple of easy ways that we do this. To set up our gateways, Steeldome can either do it for you, or you can operate in a self-serve model. If we do it for you, we would actually do there's a pre-installation checklist. We would build the configuration in the image, provide you a link. You download it, install it, requires only 100 gig running on a VM, VM capability, and you're up and running. If you to do it yourself, Steeldome, there is a command line interface for advanced features and getting around some more multi-site replication type configurations. But if you don't know the protocols at the command line level, we offer a template system called our Global Fleet Management System. And this is a drill down and around that sequentially steps you through how to configure each protocol or the operating system or the storage pools, and then provide you with a status of what's running, like the SMB, state, et cetera, as well as there's a bunch of alerting and monitoring capabilities in our dashboard to see how each of the vaults, if you will, are configured and what the health of them are. Next. All right, FileCoin web and SMB interface. We have quite a few interfaces here, just showing a couple examples for demonstration purposes. On the website, what we have is the ability to point and click as well as drag and drop in a very intuitive way, like you would expect from a web interface. All right, so we're showing a FileCoin folder here. That's where the data would sit for being deposited onto FileCoin. We're very close and working on the ability to have the archival and verifiability of that data be represented for the customer, so that or the service provider, so that they can check on that status. And then just on the right here is a typical SMB intuitive interface. You know, it's mounted and it's looked at just like any other folder or any other drive using SMB, and there's other interfaces for the other protocols that we mentioned. Next. All right, guys, at the end of the day, guys and gals, that's a North Jersey thing. Guys is universal for us. But just to, at the end of the day, it's about delivering results. And when we talk about storage provider community, it's not an and/or logic for us. We feel that you must solve the security and the savings aspect, so that not only does the storage provider win, but so does the security czars and the data protection needs that are out there. And most importantly, so does the data owner. The data owner actually saves money by doing what we're doing. And in essence, we all win. We feel that that drives the innovative creative process. We can now do a lot of cool things there. And again, the rest of it is, the one I'll point out here is delivering immutable hybrid solutions is key. And what we're bringing also to the table that I did not mention in the previous slide is we have the ability to encrypt. We are encrypting the data when we put it back out on the wire for FileCoin or any other provider. That's also built into the gateway. And the other message here is we've got turnkey results around data protection, storage, and retrieval services available today in a white label or license model where you can build whatever you need for what I'll just call profitable approaches for these services. Next. We're getting there. All right, let's break it down. I'll make this simple. Across the bottom are just some examples, but when we talk about hybrid services, what's being asked for out there and where there are too many choices with a lot of complexity is around backup as a service, data recovery services, storage as a service, disaster recovery as a service, what we're calling intelligent archival solutions. And what I mean there is, we'll talk about this in detail when we get together in the future. But there's a tremendous opportunity for FileCoin to create some analytics or containerized services, hyperconvergence type services on top of these archival systems to be able to offer companies an alternative to do document repository type stuff, search and find, those type of services that they struggle with immensely today that are very expensive. So just real quick in a 1, 2, 3 punch here, on the provider side, in order to be profitable, you got to charge. So hybrid solutions are a reality. It can't get around it. People need it end to end. And then again, we call the security stuff. The real key point there is agnostic immutability. We have to be able to provide these protection services, which we can today in Web 2 and Web 3, decoupled from the hardware. Does not matter what people choose to store their data on. It needs to be protected. And next. Okay, so in summary, what's the deal, right? We can start onboarding data today. It's just a matter of how we do it and what type of automation we can put in play, and what we're doing in conjunction with the community and protocol labs. to provide solutions and packages to make this stuff easier. We today have the ability to provide a Web 2 to Web 3 on-ramp. In fact, the last bullet I can jump to is on the horizon. We are very close to opening up the entire Web 3 market, if you will, to a Web 2 channel for FileCoin service providers. And what that means is, using our orchestration software, you now have the ability to potentially bid on large data sets for archival services in the enterprise space. Tremendous value. But again, the points here is storage provider, profitability is a must. We secure the data, it's not negotiable. I think there's a lot of value that doesn't get brought forward in the Web 2 community based on blockchain. Flexibility and scalability, paramount, right? Have to have it. And at the end of the day, the message from us is FileCoin can be cheap. It can be funded with rewards. That's fantastic. But the bundle solution has to have something chargeable in the Web 2 community. And I'll say it in a nice way, I guess. Otherwise, you're just not looked at correctly. People need to pay for something for the value to be perceived, at least in the Web 2 space. So that's it. Next slide. Thank you. I really appreciate the time to present today, and look forward to getting together. Feel free to reach out. Any questions, comments?
Thank you, Rich.